Hey, what's going on, Miami sports fans? It's your boy MusiqNerd, and I am here on a happy, joyous weekend. Now, it did not always look that way for both our teams, but like I said a few weeks ago, a win is a win. You need to enjoy the wins, people, because obviously they are few and far between. So let's start off with our harder of the harder luck of our teams right now, the Dolphins. They were able to go into New England, get a road division win, which is huge. I really don't care how it goes. I don't care how you get it. The whole point is to get the win, and that's what they were able to do. They ran for almost 200 yards rushing, even though another thing we did lose Devon Chain to a concussion. He's going to be in concussion protocol, but luckily there's a bye next week, so hopefully we can have him back. And Raheem Mostert was able to play his first game of the year this year. Got 80 yards rushing. Jalen Wright came out, had 86 yards rushing on 6.5 yards per rush. I mean, the passing game was not where we wanted to be, but what we needed it to be, the receiving. Tyreek Hill still got about 69 yards off 6 catches, which I'll take. Jonnu Smith able to get going with 62. Jalen Waddle with 46. And then, like, what we were able to hang our hat on is the defense. The Dolphins' defense played really well again. Now, I know that the Patriots are not an offense to write home about, but it's not easy getting a road win in the division. It's just not. It's not something that you can hope for, especially not after the way we looked on Monday night. Yeah, take the wins where we can get them, and we were able to go into Foxborough, get a much-needed division win, and with the Bills losing to the Texans on the last-second field goal, we're only a game out of first place with everything that has happened. Everything that's happened, we're only a game out of first place going into the bye. So, take it, love it, and then move on for it. I mean, the main thing, there's always going to be the main thing. We took 3 sacks today. Huntley only turned the ball over once. I mean, it's not going to be great. Like I said before in these reactions, Tua is the quarterback that you need. In a lot of situations, looking at the game and looking at the game script, I think if Tua was playing, this game probably would have been a blowout. But hindsight is 2020 right now. We gotta hope that we can get. Hopefully we can get healthy in that position. So I'm not sure what's going to happen with Tua. I'm not sure if he's going to come back. But buying him a win right now is buying him some more time. So that's what I love to see. So, going on to the big event of the weekend. Oh man, this game was crazy, wild, absolutely insane. I stayed up to watch it. Me and my brothers, we all talked about it. I'm sure Julian will let you know his part of it when he does his reaction later on this week. But this game was wild. Of course, I'm talking about number 8 Miami moving to 6-0 with one of the greatest comebacks in school history against Cal. My reaction to this game: one, we have to run the ball more consistently. I know JMD was like, "Oh, you shouldn't force to run and everything like that." But I think that if Miami would have stuck more with the run at the beginning of the game and mixed it more in, I think that Miami would not have had to pass and get in such a big hole. Because I think Miami, one, they're doing a good job of controlling the ball and controlling the line. I just think a couple of times, especially on that first 4th and 2, I think you run that with Damian Martinez and Mark Fletcher. I don't think you get cute and try to get Arroyo out on the barrier. Now, don't get me wrong, you have to use your playmakers, as it saw with Arroyo getting the winning touchdown at the end of the game, but when you're established that you're the one that you're being dominant, you establish the line of scrimmage. You have to press that advantage with a game like that. 4th and 2, you're the number 18 in the nation. You have a bigger offensive line. You're averaging about 5 yards per carry at that point. Run the ball down their throats, get it, and send a message. But I think doing that, going out in the corner, I think you let Cal kind of into the game, and that changed momentum again. So like for the second straight week, going into a play on your second, third drive, instead of getting a much needed touchdown, you really turn the ball over and give momentum, and then Cal scores on like almost the next play. So another thing, pass defense. One, I do think that Cal was very much prepared for this game, and it's obvious that they are a very well coached team. But they are able to scheme up their 4 longest pass plays of the season, and yes, that's coaching, but that's also on the lack of depth that we have in the defensive backfield. We got to get better there. You can't you have to be disciplined. I feel. And Powell, I think, has made some great plays to begin this season, but he was out of position a couple times. So same thing with Seven. I mean, for real, it's kind of embarrassing that a team that had not had a 50-yard pass play before going into this game had 4. against us, and we're supposed to be one of the top defenses in the nation. And so then getting to Cam, uh, Cam, the first half was probably the worst I've seen Cam play in a Miami uniform, and then that first play of the second half, that Hail Mary of a pass that he was doing, I'm like looking at him like, what? That's one of the most befuddling, I guess that's the right word for it, befuddling plays I've ever seen out of a player like that. I just don't understand why he would make that. I understand he was frustrated trying to go for the big play, but when it gets to a certain point, you have to take what the defense gives you. The way that Cal is very disciplined in that back end. That's why they were one of the best pass defenses in the nation, if not the best. Had the most interceptions and added to it with that dumb play. I was really disappointed in that play, but after that, I do think he settled down. I do think he started taking what the defense gave him. I do think he still, at a lot of points, was trying to, hold the ball a bit too long, looking for that big play. But I think when it came down to winning time, when it was down 35-10, he did a good job of taking what the defense gave him. And I think that if he would have done it a little bit earlier, Miami would not have found themselves in that hole. Now, the game and the reaction from some of the other fans, I was up, I was good, and it was discouraging. I'm not going to sit there and say I blame people, but the fact of the matter is, it's like, even if Miami would have dropped this game, it's like, it's with the new playoff system, it's just one game. You have to, when it comes down to it, Miami has to take care of business, and the rest of the season was important. What I loved about this, though, is that Miami, once again, showed that it's not going to back down from anything, not back down from anyone. We've said this before. I know a lot of people have said this. A lot of people who are associated and making content on the Canes are saying the last 20 years, Miami loses this type of game. And that's just true. Because the fact of the matter is, this is the biggest comeback since 03. And the one thing that it's saying has gone, 03 is the last time Hurricanes team won a conference championship, and it was in the Big East. So that's something really, really important to be said about the heart of this team and the fact that they don't back down. I love that about this team. I cannot wait really to see what happens next. They need to get healthy. They need to address a lot of things defensively during the bye. Address a couple things offensively during the bye. We need to get Jalen Rivers back, obviously. I think Bell, to a certain extent, played well, but it's just obvious that when it comes down to it, there are going to be things that he listens, and I think the offensive line is going to work a lot better when Jalen Rivers gets back. So that is half the season down. And so you've passed every test so far, whether it's barely passing, whether it's a C like it was last night, or A that we had like when it came to the Florida game. We passed every test so far. So Miami is 6-0 heading into the bye and heading into another important road game in a couple weeks from now with Louisville. So we'll see how that goes. And so as far as other teams in the college football realm, the Gators were able to take care of business against UCF last night. Not too much trouble. They really pretty much dominated the game. Didn't score a touchdown after halftime. But the Gators are 3-2, a little bit better than I think people thought. Now it goes into a bit of a gauntlet. They're going to have Tennessee coming up, and then of course November is, like I said, it's one of the hardest schedules I've ever seen in my life. They play Texas, Ole Miss, Georgia, and LSU. So let's see how they go. They're gonna have to, if they can scrape together 6 wins, I think Billy Napier should win Coach of the Year. I'm not even joking about that. I think that, like I said, the Florida Gators schedule is the hardest schedule I've ever seen. And people are saying Alabama has a tough schedule. Look, the only thing that Florida has to hold them back is that they don't play Alabama. That's literally the only good team in the SEC that they did not play, and they play everyone else. So that's a bit. You kind of. I think everybody's trying to give Alabama the benefit of the doubt after what happened, but the fact of the matter is like the SEC is a bit of a gauntlet. It is, but like I said, still Florida has the worst schedule I've ever seen. In Florida State, I think that Brock Glenn gives them a bit more hope, and that's something that we need to watch out for as UM fans. I'm telling you, October 26th is going to be the Super Bowl. It's going to be the Super Bowl. They're going to give everything they have for that game, so Miami has got to be prepared for it. Got to be prepared for it. So, but once again, they lost to Clemson, and I'll say this: their red zone defense is impressive. They have a really good way of bending but not breaking, so that's another thing to look out for Florida State. But when it comes down to it, wins are wins, and they are 1-5. So, gonna have to keep going. All right, y'all. Thank y'all so much. We probably will not be having reactions next week because both the Dolphins and the Hurricanes are on a bye. So we'll see how that goes. But tomorrow we're going to have the top 5 NBA things coming out. And tonight we should have the podcast for this week talking about reviewing the first quarter of the season and talking about the NBA preview. So tune in. I hope y'all love it. We'll see y'all next time. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Music Nerd out.